Hi, this will be a demo for the final projects, and I'm gonna briefly showcase what's available, um, the code base and the features of everything. So right now we have what I've done for this project is the moving camera, as well as switching between camera. And whenever you switch to a new camera, you can adjust the angles and everything. You can move around as well. And yeah, so that's for a camera. As you can see, the texture. Texture is working. I've just done it like a couple of moments ago, and there's a wireframe um, render mode and the color precision mode. The only thing, the only render type that I haven't done is the normal lighting, like the one that has light on it. I haven't done that, so at this point. Yeah, for shapes, I have cubes and pyramids, and well, there's a fan shapes, and there's an X shape I've done, and because of time constraint, I didn't really make a like a 3D X or something that it doesn't have a site. It's pretty much just a paper that has X shape on it. So yeah, for the code base, um, this is the load content. So you can add new camera, and it will be automatically when we create a new camera, it will be added to a manager called camera manager, and the manager at the end will uh, manager of everything will destroy at the unload contents. So that when you create new objects or game objects or shader objects or anything, you don't have to delete it by yourself. It will be automatically passed into the managers of respective managers, and that'd be good to go. So I have a shader objects, and by watching some of the demos from weekly materials, I slowly crank out my versions of the code. So when you create a new shaders, it will pass in to the a parent class called shader, and it will read the scripts on the shader scripts, which I didn't really write myself. It's from the demo, the weekly demos. Where's the shader? Actually, so yeah, shaders. This is a shader scripts. I didn't really do a file system on this. It's just a separate CPP files that contains different shader scripts, and from the weekly demo. And if I have a little time on it, I'd be able to do the file system. Actually, I think the file system isn't really much needed at this point, because the only reason I accomplished this is to I know that like in many engines, shaders could only exist in the files, so that it'd be easier to organize. But in this case, I think it's CPP is enough. That's for shader. For camera, the the way the camera works is pretty much it has add you add new camera. When you create new camera objects, it automatically pass into a manager. And the switch next, which is there's not much happening here. It's just a matter of which camera is active. For updates, it's not much either. I have a keyboard script which I kind of rip off from the weekly materials. So what I do with it is when you press a key, it adjusts the camera locations. Each camera has several parameters X, Y, Z, and angle Y, X, etc., etc. When you press space, it switches to the next camera. Yeah, and the camera, where's the camera? Okay. So when you since you have to pass the camera as a matrix, so I kind of make an operator to pass the camera object into a matrix, which does this. It multiplies the several matrices together. It has a screen and a rotation around X, around Y and Z. And yeah, that's the matrix part. When you render each objects, these are from the I think it's week 7, something. Week 7, 15 demo. I started from this demo. Yeah, this code I haven't changed much. It does pretty much what the original demo does. And you know, the render part, oh yeah, draw. We'll call each game objects within the system, and then call draw on top of them. Each game object, upon the draw function, it will call the graphic components of respective part. When it renders, this kind of what I've learned from materials, you set states, because this the only thing I think weekly material, well, at this point, I don't think we need a set state for each graphics component type. So I made it so that the abstract class has all the function. And if you want to modify it when you see the virtual, and despite that they are virtual, they have their own definitions. So when you want to define a new graphic components, say, you can modify on top of them. But in most cases, it's not going to diverge from the parent class. So in most cases, where's the graphic? Yeah. So for this graphics, the set state is has its own definitions, so that you can do extra stuff on it. So yeah, that's pretty much the only few cases where you have to override. And that's the camera. Instancing, I create models as well. I made modeling to individual objects. Just create them objects, and it will be passed to a manager, and you can use it later. When you create a new game object, you specify the cube, the models, the texture, the render mode, which in turns is well, you get the idea, texture. In some cases, you only need a render mode and a texture. You don't need a shader type because, well, it's not necessary for a texture lid to have. I mean, you don't have to need a color position to need a texture because it doesn't need it. Yeah. For instance, I have done different location transformation, lighting attribute. I don't do lighting, so yeah. Draw the objects with EVOs. Haven't. I don't think I'm there yet. Vertex is required from one file together. No, not very much. Render modes. I've so far I only have 3 render modes because I don't haven't implemented the lighting mode yet. Scene graph. Um, well, I haven't really done a PCS tree. I only use this array, double linked list to link all the objects together. Oh yeah, for each managers they have their own. Where's the manager? Static manager. For example, like most of the managers are pretty much generic, and they have a definition of linker. Each linker links to the type of, in this case it's game objects, and in the case of shader manager it will be a shader, in case of model it will be a model, etc. And they will be destroyed at the end of the program. Simple texture manager. Yeah, I have that. Well, to be honest,